Roll up and listen to Incense and Ashtrays with Dwann B. Music for your soul.
Welcome to Incense and Ashtrays. I'm your host, Dwann B. I am here again live with the person who's been my favorite guest so far since I've been doing this show. Someone that is a blues legend, Grammy Award winner, the king of the chittlin circuit. And I love the fact that he embraces that title because I love the chittlin circuit. We wouldn't be nothing without it. And this is a man whose book talks about that. He has a new book called Aint Studdin, the legend, Mr. Bobby Rush. How you doing today, my man?
Man, I'm doing great, man. I'm really good because you pronounce my name of my book correct. I ain't studying you. Someone say ain't stuttering you. It's I ain't studying you. Yeah, man. I laughed when you said it. I said, "Wow, God, is he gonna get it right, man?" You from the chilling side, man.
Hey,
You,
that's how it
hey,
is. I'm from
that's
that
what I'm
side,
talking about. You're from that side of the track, man. You know.
Yeah, because
I appreciate you. Let me say first of all, before we get too far, let me thank you for inviting me to this interview and doing this on me, and I really appreciate it. How I appreciate everything you have done, everything you've done, what you plan to do, because what you say about me for people to see me to be. So thank you in advance. Okay.
I thank you. I thank you for saying yes. Because
Well,
a lot of times, with your schedule, you as long as you've been doing this, you're still doing 200 dates a year. So for you to still stop
yeah.
and say, I'm going to say yes to interview with me, I appreciate that from the bottom of my heart. And I will remember this the rest of my life.
Well, a lot of time the work come in because I'm so thankful that I'm able to work and so blessed to have work. But then again, old blues man had to work a lot of days to make up for one. You know,
Yeah.
I had to work 8 days to make a week. But I said that with a joke and a laugh. But I thank God that I'm able to physically able to go to work. But I'm also thanking God for allowing me the task of being famous enough for people who wants me enough, or be good enough for people who wants to see me, and have enough of fans who wants to have me coming back and back again. So it's nothing that was like a platter. It just what God have given me the grace and the time and the blessing to make me to get to this level where I am now, and I appreciate it.
That's beautiful. And you talk about that in your book, your ability to play what they call the chitlin circuit. And
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that, man, because children's circus. See, well, let's talk about that for a minute, because most people write about the children's circuit is not black people's.
okay.
We wouldn't get into black and white, but it's not black people to write most of the thing about children's circuit. Children's circuit came from chitlins, man, the inside of a hog, the guts. When we used to play back in the early '50s when I started, that was our pay. We would get $2 or $3 a night and a little tip what we could make, and we could eat what we wanted. Chitlins, chili, our chitlins,
Yes.
and that's what we had to eat, because we as black men and women, we couldn't go into hotels like the white people do. We had to go around to the back to get a sandwich to eat. We just couldn't eat and do the thing that we do now. And man, listen, that's what we got. That was our pay. You working for food, man. That's what we were doing. It ain't much. And you know what? When you think about it, it's a little bit different now, but most of the things have changed, remain the same. Because I wrote this book, Aint Studdin, and it's out now. If I had just waited one more year, I probably would have wrote something different after they marched on the White House. That let you
Mm.
know all the things have changed. It really remained the same, you know, because we talk about Florida having uh, some police had a foot on his neck, but we as a black people, especially me, I can speak of, I've been had a foot on my neck all of my life, and I'm talking about a foot on my neck. lack of opportunities and things that I could not and could not do. You know, and it's been like that with all of my life. But I want people to read this book and don't feel sorry for me and look at what I went through and came out of it. I don't mean to sit here and tell you that I had the worst task of anybody in life. I know a lot of people who had worse time than I had with the no father, sometimes no mother, and nothing to eat and a whole bit like that. I went through a lot of ups and downs, but if I come out of my situation, what I want you to get out of this book is you can too.
That, and you know what? I think you made that very clear as you read the book, because in the book, this is how great the book is, people. This is a history book. He's taking you back to the 1940s in northern
Right,
Louisiana and Mississippi, and giving
right.
you an firsthand account of what it was. So when people try to rewrite history later and make it seem like there was just this glorious thing and black music comes out of just this glorious past, no. There's a part where Mr. Rush, and I want you to talk about this. You talk about being down in that area of Louisiana where you have the Delta. You were near the Delta where the blues got started. You were near New Orleans where the jazz got started. And so much music got started in that area. But you also
Hmm.
explained growing up having to leave school and but to pick cotton and to pick things with your dad. So talk about the soup that went into that environment that you grew up in, and how the oppression was then, and how what did it do for the music, and how's it changed?
Well, let me tell you what's funny thing about it, and well, it ain't funny, but it's true. The same thing makes you laugh. The same thing makes you cry. What I'm saying about that is that the blues is all for real, and everybody can have the blues. But black people as a whole have the blues and hardship and hard time than any other race that you know of are close to it, if not Hispanic or what have you. That because even though you do the work, you don't get paid for the work you do or the knowledge you have to put into what you do because you never get credit for the thing you do, even to songwriters and a whole lot of things. But
Yes.
I'm telling you now that, but I strive to be good at what I do. I know everybody don't like me. Everybody ain't the fans of Bobby Rush. But if I'm good at what I do, you can see me say, well, I don't like old Bobby Rush, but damn, be good. That's all what matters is be
Yes.
good at what you do. And I strive to be good at what I do. And I strive harder to do the things I cannot do. Because the things I can do would take care of itself. So I
Yes.
strive hard at that. I strive hard at that. So the blues is something is the root of all music, really. It's the mother of all music. If you
Yes.
don't like the blues, you probably don't like your mama. Simple as that.
So,
you know.
it. Oh,
Let me tell you, and hopefully that this interview will reach someone. My mother is blonde hair, blue eyes. She was my babysitter when we was in the public. She was my mama when we got home. My daddy was her chauffeur when we was out. He was her husband and my father when we got home. It's so many times that my mother had played the role of this white woman because she could pass either way the wind blow.
uh-huh.
Uh, that came up in, but the hurt part about it is I didn't think my daddy knew how my mama had to play both sides. If he knew, the hurt part about the hurt, what hurt more than that is if he had to do what he had to do because to save his life. And I believe deep down inside, my daddy was a smart man. I think he knew the part my mother was playing, but he had to play the part because that was his life as at stake.
Yes.
And that's a sad situation to me. Seeing my mama had to be a white woman when she had to be with white people, and she was my mother when she got home, and my dad's wife and my mom, and that was her husband. But she couldn't play that part when we was out in the public. And I know that got to be a hard situation with my father because I've been through some situation is hard to take. Inside of this book, I talk about in 1963 when Ike Turner and myself, Robert Plunkin, I had an accident coming from Rock Island, Illinois, going to Chicago, and one truck hit my station wagon and turned it over, and another 9 other trucks hit that truck, and all 10 trucks, all men got burned up in the truck. There was no survivor but myself, Robert Plunkin, and Ike Turner. Ike Turner wasn't in the car with me, but he was in the front of me. We dug ourselves in the ground to keep warm till someone found us. And someone found us later. And when they found us, we were there asking for help. So someone in that, I don't know, was it the sheriff department, police department, just a bunch of men, I couldn't tell who it was. They said, was anybody here? One guy said, no, just 2 niggas. They're in the ground. They're already buried. Leave their asses there. And that's what they said about us.
Wow.
And they left us there. It was probably 8 hours before somebody found me and took me to the hospital. I don't know how I got there. I don't know what happened. We don't know what happened. But that was over. Then finally, the drummer with me, he passed. And of course, Ike Turner passed many, many years later. But that was the only survivor out of that. So God had really embraced me from a lot of standpoints. And I said all that to say this. That's when I got involved with Dr. Martin Luther King, trying to help me through this situation and the things that I was going through with that in 1963.
Wow. See.
And that's hard. When a bunch of people walk, I couldn't see who it was in the dark. Someone said, was anybody here? Just 2 niggas in the ground. They already buried and left us that intentionally.
Wow. And you're a survivor because you talk about also in the book, your bus flipping over, your bus driver having a heart attack.
Oh, yeah. Bus driver had a heart attack. Had been driving for about 30, 40 minutes. Just got out and just woke up. 30, 40 minutes later, had an accident. And one of my dancers got killed in it, and everybody else got hurt. I was pinned down. They had to have the lockjaw to come in and cut me out. And the dangerous situation is when you're cutting someone out with that kind of gas explosion around you, it could blow up in a minute. So it was a dangerous situation. But God had his hedge around me. And I don't beat no bushes about that because I know I'm a believer. It's a personal thing. I'm a believer because I'm here for a reason,
Yeah.
And I just thank God that we're here to talk. And I have crossed over, but I never crossed out. I'm always willing to talk to what they call underdogs. Now that don't mean you, but that means I'm willing to talk to anyone who wants to talk to me, and especially the guys who not as popular as others. You don't have to be an Oprah Winfrey for me to talk to you because and nothing wrong with Oprah Winfrey. All that's good, but everybody's important. Everybody's important. I often talk about. You can teach a man how to play a guitar, a harmonica, a drum, piano, whatever, but you can't teach a man how to be an entertainer. You have to be born to do that.
Yes.
And you just, and I guess, and people like yourself who's in this business as radio and TVs, you got to be born and want to do this because sometimes the money ain't there. You got to go out and sell advertisement to keep it on the air because people think what we talk about is make money, but what we talk about ain't the money maker. It's selling our time with how you stay on air.
Mm-hmm.
If people don't buy a commercial from you, you can't stay there,
You're right about that because like right now, I'm building this from the ground up. I do this for free. I don't even have ads yet. My whole
That's what I'm talking about. That's the point I'm getting to.
Yeah. My point is I'm doing this because I'm a lover of music and I'm a lover of history. And I'm a lover of Black people, of all people, but I'm really a lover of Black people because our story has not been told accurately. So I got tired of watching these other documentaries and getting mad at their point of view. I suck you out, and different people like you, I seek you out because I want the story to be told correctly so the next generation of young folks coming up can get the story the way it's supposed to be told. So that's why, again, I really appreciate you for doing this.
Well, I appreciate you because see, when you talk about the chittlin circuit, everybody's been writing about this. Let's face the fact, there's been most of white people write about the chittlin circuit because they thought we were talking about the juke joint. Don't get me. The juke joint ain't the chittlin circuit. The chittlin circuit is what you fed people and how you pay them to do the job they're done, which was a little nothing. That's the chittlin circuit because the juke joint was the only thing we knew. And we get off work on a Friday night. The juke joint was fun.
Yes.
That's why the same thing made you laugh, the same thing made you cry. That's all we knew, the juke joint, man. Wasn't nothing wrong with the juke joint because we as black people, we've been dancing, shooting marbles, shooting ball, playing, jumping. We've been doing it all our life because we athletic kind of people. You follow me?
Yes.
And now we got people, black people, who are ashamed of themselves, of the color of their skin, or their nationality, and what have you. You follow me?
Yes.
You know, I help black people now talk about I'm gonna record like this because I think this is what white people like. I'm gonna record like this because I think they're what black people like. I record what I feel good music and I hope everyone like it. It's not a black and white issue with me.
And that's why it's called, our music at the end of the day is called soul music. It comes from your soul and how you express it through your soul.
Not a black music, it's a soul. Soul
yes.
coming from your heart, man.
Talk to me again about being down in the location you were in northern Louisiana and how that affected you musically.
Well, I'll tell you what affected me. Even the music, I'm gonna tell you what really affected me, and I never talk about this on the air. When I left in 1947, left Louisiana, went to Pine Bluff, Arkansas with my dad, who was a pastor of a church, in fact, pastor of 2 churches, and a preacher. I needed money to go to Chicago. I wanted money to go to Chicago because everybody had been telling me, including Muddy Water, Hollywood, B.B. King, Lionel Hoagland, Jimmy Reed, T-Bone Walker, all the guys was a little bit older than I. Fast Domino, all the guys said, man, you can't do nothing in the South. You need to go north where you'll be free. Man, I was ran to get to north, but I didn't have $28.95 to go to Chicago. So I had enough money to go to Memphis, Tennessee, where Rufus Thomas, B.B. King, and Sonny Boy Williamson was working. Rufus Thomas working on Beale Street. I went there early in 1950 to work on the Beale Street. I made $8 or $9 a night there with tips and everything. So I made 3 or 4 days, got me enough money to buy me a ticket and go to St. Louis, where Albert King was living in Lovejoy at that time. Chuck Berry was living in St. Louis. So I worked with Chuck Berry in that area for a minute till I got enough money to go to Chicago. When I got to Chicago, I met Muddy Water was already there, Howlin' Wolf, Jimmy Reed, Johnny Hooker, Bo Diddley, and all these guys. J.B. Lenore was there. He and Bo Diddley got me a job making $7.50 a night, me and the band. $7.50 a night for 3 guys. And we worked behind a curtain where it was all white audience. We worked behind a curtain every night where they wanted to hear our music but not see our face. And then my wall, I was busted. That was it for me. Because I thought I would go leave in the South, coming to the North where I'd be like in heaven. And I'll be a free man. But I got church in Illinois, suburb of Chicago, and working behind a curtain. I didn't know what to do then. My whole world was shattered, man. Now what am I gonna do now?
Yeah.
I couldn't go into places down south where they calling me the N-word and where I couldn't eat and sleep in the hotel, no bed. Now I get Chicago, in Illinois, where I had to play behind a curtain where they want to hear my music, not see my face.
Wow. You talked about that in the book. And you also talked about, being around Muddy and Bo Diddley and Fats Domino. Fats Domino, these are people that we don't hear about enough. Talk to me about Fats Domino, because I was reading a lot and, his sound, Blueberry Hill, that had a huge influence on ska music, which eventually evolved into reggae. Talk to me about Fats
Yeah,
Domino.
yeah, yeah. Well, Fats Domino, one of the first guys cross over to a white audience.
Okay.
You know, a white audience, and he come from that calypso side, what was cardio side, New Orleans, like reggae is in reggae towns and what have like Bob Marley, but he was that on the R&B side, coming from Louisiana, being Zydeco orientated, but he took the piano and left the Zydeco but played Zydeco sound. You probably don't hear it there because you're not from that area, but if you're from the area, you can hear the Zydeco in Fats Domino.
Yes.
It's still there. Overtone is still there. But he was one of the first guys who broke away and crossed over into the white market and made a lot of money with that. Made a lot of money for the agent and the whole building. And apparently, where I hear it, he made a lot of money, period. But a lot of the money he made wasn't for him. He had so much overhead and so much slickness, like everybody do. You know, they beat him out of a lot of things, beat him out of a lot of money and a lot of publicity and what have you. But they do all of it the same way, you know.
Yes.
But I got blessed in 1951 and 52. When I said blessed, I use the word blessed, maybe in a curse. I went to Chess to get a job at Chess. And I talk about it in this book. When I went to get the job at Chess, I made a mistake in reading a pamphlet was on the desk at the Union 10 and 208 were merging. And I said to Bo Diddley and the Muddy Water and the guy was sitting around, this is going to be good for us. At that time, we didn't say black people. This is going to be good for us. We colored guys. That's we using the colored word then. And Bo Diddley laughed at me. And I didn't know why. And to the day, I still don't know why he was laughing. Maybe because of the way I speak, coming from the South, and I don't know what it was. But anyway, when I said, it's going to be good for us. So by that time, Leonard and Phil, his two brothers who owned the company, one of them walked out and said, where did Bob Rush get that information from? He said, off your desk. He got the paper and threw it to me. He said, boy, read that to me. What it says. And I read it to him, not knowing that a black man wasn't supposed to read to the white man.
Oh.
I said, and I read to him. He turned and told his brother, so we can't use that nigga because he can read. And I didn't get the job. Muddy Waters and Hollow Wolf, they all got the job. He didn't hire me. I walked there, they literally kicked me out the door. But few weeks after that, a man took a liking to me. I don't want to go to the long drawn out thing about it, but the guy who took a liking to me was Al Capone's brother. His name was Cedrick Capone. Took a liking to me and took me in on his wing. And come on, and next, and that's what happened to Bobby Rush. And he kind of taught me what I should or should not do by my masters. Now I didn't even know nothing about his brother.
Okay.
You know, I didn't know anything about nothing about the Capone. I just heard of him. But when I used to walk in the door, they would say, "Hey, come to the old Capone boy," talking about me. And they would let me have anything. So if I didn't have any money, which I didn't have any money, I would go in and cut me a record or two or whatever I wanted to record. And they would ask me, said, Bobby Rush, you got any money today to pay on your bill? I said, no, let me talk to my boss. They let me go out the door because they didn't want to mess with my boss. They thought I was my boss. I didn't know about no Capone. I just heard of it. But I used it for my advantage. I lied about it. In the book, I talk about it.
Yeah.
I didn't know no Capone at all, you know. Now, how that got so everybody know, when I went to work for Cesar Capone, a Chinese guy hired me to work for him. And he hired me, and I worked for him for about 4 or 5 months. He would pay me $7.50 a night. So down the street, the guy was going to pay me $13 a night. So I went to him, and I said, Country, I said, I'm going to give you a 2-week notice. I'm going down the street and work for this man down the street want to offer me the money. He said, okay with me. So I went to Caesar, who was the boss, didn't know this about Capone's brother. I said, listen, I got an offer down the street for $13 a night, and I'm only making $7 or something here, and I can make more money. He said, okay, good boy. I went down and I worked, and that Sunday night, after I worked out 3 or 4 days or 5 days or whatever it was now, it was time to get paid. I said, where do I get my money from? He said, up the street, go out the door, up the street and get 2 doors up and go upstairs. Well, hell, that's the same place I've been getting my money from another place. So when I went back, walking upstairs, the same man that been paying me off up there turned around and said, hey, boy. Same man. So now he got respect for me because I'm in now. I'm got respect for me because I didn't just walk away and live. He said, hey, Country, this is my boy. You don't pay him, I pay him. Hey, Bobby Rush, we're gonna make a lot of money together, ain't we, boy? You wanna make a lot of money? I said, depending on what I want to do. He said, hey, boy, you don't tell me what the hell you want to do. You do what the hell I tell you to do. I didn't know nothing about the Capone. I was too dumb to know about who I was working for. But anyway, they take a liking on me because I had respect. I was just trying to get another job.
Yeah.
Hey, man, I couldn't do no wrong, you know. So I could go down to Chess, record with Muddy Water and Hollywood, and I could get anything I want. They'll see me coming. They'll be running out. Hey, here come the old Capone boy. I didn't even know Capone, man. I just lied my way through that. I didn't know it. I didn't know it. Didn't know nothing about it, man. Nothing at all.
Didn't know nothing about it.
No, but anyway, I got to tell people to know that. Tell people that listen to this interview.
That's an
3 or
amazing
4
story.
years ago, I had the box set of the year with 80-something masters on the box set. How do you have a 80-something master box set and you don't own the master? I'm about the only black man in the world can do that. Not even B.B. King can do that.
So you say you have the actual masters, the tapes, but you don't own them?
Yeah, I own them. I have them and I own them.
Okay, that's okay. So you have, so you do own yours. Okay. I got
the Grammy this year. I got the Grammy this year on Deep Rush Records. Name me another blues singer that got Grammys on his own label.
I can't.
That ain't none.
See, that's amazing. See, what you telling us, folks, is it's about your business, because you talk about times earlier in your career where you were sort of screwed over by both James Brown and also by other people. The brother who owned that, I'm drawing a blank to his name, but he owned the label that released the Beatles. And talk to us about that.
That's Calvin Carter, who had VJ Records, you know.
Yes, VJ Records. Yes,
and then Willie Dixon, who was a man who supposed to wrote for Muddy Water, Hollywood, and all together. He was a black man who beat us out the money. It wasn't a white people. It was a black man beat us out the money, but the white man knew what he was doing, because at the time when he was always getting his money and reporting his money to the white people. See, if you got let me show you how it's worked. If Chess owns Chess label and Willie Dixon is a writer, guess who pays the writer? The label pays the writer for the record that he sells. If he sold 1, 10,000, whatever, you say. But it was in Willie Dixon's name, so the white men throw the rock and hide their hand.
Mm-hmm.
So if anybody gets messed around, it'll be from the black man. So they use the black man to beat you for your money. And if it's $100,000, I doubt they gave him $100,000. Probably gave him $20,000, and they kept the $80,000. I'm just putting numbers in your head now.
Yeah,
that's the way it worked. But when the two record company people died, then Willie Dixon would begin to get a lot of money, get rich. But then what about Muddy Water and Howlin' Wolf and Both Dills and all these guys who he said he wrote for? How you gonna write for a man who couldn't read or write?
Because again, you said there can't nobody that can read, write, work for my label.
That's what I'm talking about. Come on, you know.
Wow.
But that's the kind of the way the cookie crumbles, you know. And but let me tell you something. Everything have changed, but it still remains the same. As I said before, if it had been if I had been another year later writing this book, I probably would have wrote something different when they invaded the White House. But I always use this example. When I was a kid, we didn't have electric light, our toilet outside the house. We had to go outside to the toilet, to the restroom. It smelled bad, looked bad. now got toilets inside the house. They smell good. They look good. But guess what? Whatever you do inside the toilet then, you still do it today. That haven't changed. Ain't nothing changed. Ain't nothing changed about what you do in the toilet. It's just the look of the toilet.
That's wisdom. I appreciate that's some wisdom right there. Yeah, you're still gonna be some dirty it going on in that place, no matter how it looks on the outside.
Okay. How I look? So everything look like it's changed, but everything changed remains the same, and that's biblical because there's nothing new under the sun. That's biblical.
That's real talk, because because what you said about that, I noticed like now they do that now with record labels. It'd be whether it be with it's different rappers like Birdman and Face back in the day, they would be a label and they would show that on the outside it looks as if these black men were the ones beating the artists out of it, but the label's kind of the ones that's pulling the coattails behind the back. And
that's right. That's what Willie Dixon was doing. Exactly.
Yeah.
Now the advantage Willie Dixon had, once the two men died and was hiding it, throwing the rock and hide their hand, he gets all the money now. He outlived them.
See.
Now he gets all the money. Now he's dead and going. Now his grandkids get the money. But what about Buddy Waters' grandchildren?
See, and I'm glad you brought that up because, you learned your lesson and you own your masters now. It was something that you said in the book when you were talking. One thing I really, really appreciated about the book is you gave other blues artists their roses too. You gave us all of you, but you also gave us a lot of your companions and contemporaries, and you gave them the credit that they usually don't get. You talked about Bo Diddley, and Bo Diddley's always been someone I've been interested in because he meant so much to music. His Bo Diddley backbeat is still being played and performed worldwide. Talk to us about Bo Diddley.
Bo Diddley was a genius in what he do, because I use the word genius because he took nothing and made something out of it. Because he wasn't that great of probably couldn't read or write. He wasn't that great of a player, but whatever he played it so well. He took that few notes he did and made a great thing out of it. He wasn't no jazz musician. He wasn't no scholar. He wasn't no doctor. Didn't have all these degrees. But one thing he had was simply God's knowledge of who he was and how he should go about treating his life and other people's. He had that. And that's all. That's all what matters with anyone's life.
Yeah, that's what matters.
And I strive hard, like I said before. I strive hard to do the things I cannot do. That's what I strive to do, because the things you can do would take care of itself.
That's good wisdom. I would talk to me more going back to the chittlin circuit. You talked about Red Fox and how he was part of the chittlin circuit, and Mom's Mabley, and how in your performance also how you go and you have your act with the women on stage, and you make it you add comedy in your act. Talk to us more about what went it like the chicken circuit really turned you into a real performer.
Yeah. You're right, man. You're probably a few guys who picked that, because if you notice that you have to be an entertainer. It's not about singing business. It's not about playing guitar. It's about performing. It's about entertaining. This business is entertainment business. It don't say guitar business or harmonica business. It's entertainment. If you don't know how to entertain, you can't survive. Now you can survive when you get a hit record, but you got to pretty soon perform the hit record that you record.
Yes.
So it's about performing. It's about performing, and that's what you have to have. Entertainment business. I'm an entertainer, and I told some people last weekend that Red Fox really taking a liking on me early, and Red Fox wanted me to be this comedian, and I was like a stand-up comedian, but I wanted to be a musician. I didn't want to be no stand-up comedian. So that was a guy named Mr. Walton that had Walton's Corner. He said, Bobby Rush, see, I could pay $13 a night if you could make me laugh. Well, I was getting $7 a night. He said, but if you could make Mr. Walton laugh, he may give you the $13 a night for being an MC and give you the $7 a night being a musician. I said, man, I'm making $20-some a night, man. Come on. I was paying Muddy Water $5.50 to be my guest. I said, man, this is a lot of money. I got to make this man laugh. So the man said, well, if you make me laugh, boy, you can have the money. I said, I went by this lady's house the other night. About 8:30, she got home by 9 o'clock, and I saw his eyes buck. I know he was wondering in his mind, if I got by his woman's house at 8:30, she didn't get there at 9 o'clock. How did I get in there? I can hear him thinking in my mind, you know. I
Yes.
said, but when she did walk in the house, I was already in the house. I was behind the door. When she walked up, I said, boo. She said, oh, you almost scared my panties off. I said, boo, 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 boo. And the man laughed. And he laughed. I got my money, man. I started working with Red Fox and done some stand up comedy along with my plan. That was my survivor, man. That was my survivor. If you listen to my records, this is my talk, listen to what I say, you can hear the comedy in me, man. You know?
Oh, that porcupine meat. Come on now. That's some
Yeah, yeah.
slick comedy, but
Is that
real.
comedy
You
or
get
not?
that slick and that real, man. Come on now.
Yeah. Well, same thing with Chicken Head, man. You know, when I went to Calvin Carter in 1968, I said, I got a record, man. So what's the name of the record? Chicken. I said, Chicken Head. He said, oh, we can't put a record like that, man. That's straddle the fence. Would mean borderline. Chicken Head. I said, no. He said, oh, you talking about Chicken Head. You from down south. I said, yes, sir. That's what I'm talking about, Chicken Head. He said, well, we can cut that record, but we need a B-side. Now, I mean, we need two records. B-side. I said, I got a B-side. So what's the name of it? Mary Jane. He said, oh, yeah, I love that, man, because Mary Jane had a girl called Mary Jane. She did me wrong. And I wasn't talking about a girl at all,
you
you know?
you talking about Mary
I was
Jane
talking
before
about,
Rick James
I was
did.
talking Mary Jane. I was talking about getting that reefer. You know, so I was talking about, you know, smoking, getting high, you know? He didn't know what I was talking about, you know? So I had me two guys didn't understand what I was talking about, you know? So I cut the record, and the record went number one. And that year, in 1907, I had the number one record. James Brown had the number two record. Bill Wilson had the number three record. I beat the top millions out.
And you know, I'm glad you brought in that, because I want to go back to talk about Miles Mabley, but I want to stay where we are right now, because in 1970, that was at the forefront of when funk was becoming its own thing and becoming a little, it was creating a path for itself. For you guys listening,
Yes.
if you haven't heard the song Chicken Heads, that's funk before funk. That's funk. When I heard that,
that's
that's
funk before the funk.
that's funk before the funk, man, because you were playing then, you know, what the Ohio players in Parliament started getting into about 3 to 4 years later. You were doing that.
They were listening to Bobby Rush. Come on. And you know what? The rappers and the guys are, you know, they all still living to me, man. If it wasn't for Bobby Rush, probably wouldn't be no 50 cent, be a dime, a quarter, something like that, you know.
Yeah, and so you're the godfather of folk funk.
Yeah, folk funk.
See,
they didn't know what to call me them days. They said I was too funky to be funk, and I was too funky to be bluesy, so they called me folk funk. You know, and I'm mixed up with a lot of things. You know,
we're gonna have to go ahead and lionize you with that, because that's how you create that everlasting long memory. Bobby Rush, the godfather of folk funk. That sounds nice to me, because when you listen to your music, it's blues. Oh, it's definitely, because all of it's the blues at the end of the day. Everything people are playing is the blues.
Yeah, but the blues just got their approach to the energy rhythm, which is funk. You know.
But you funky, man. I mean, you as funky as a batch of bad chitlins. I tell you.
I like that. That's funkier than a mule.
Yeah,
you know?
man. Because I'm
a jackass.
Yeah, and it comes, like you said, and it comes out that chitlin circuit. And you say you used to run across Mom's Mabley when you'd be out there.
Yeah, I know I know it very well. And Pick Me Markham, my friends.
Yeah, can you please? Because I'm always talking about Mom's Mabley, because she created the whole genre of stand-up comedy. Comes from her and Pig Meat Markham. When they want to talk about rap, that's Pig Meat Markham. Can you please talk to us about your firsthand experience with both Mom's Mabley and Pig Meat Markham?
Well, I knew Pig Meat Markham first, and he kind of introduced me to Mom Mabley. She was the biggest, but I got into her like that because she was a well, I got into some personal thing with her personal life. But she was a school teacher and a principal at a school. And a lot of people don't know that.
Mm.
She was an educator, man.
I didn't know that.
Very educated woman. Oh yeah, yeah. Yes, she's an educated woman, man. But when you hear her talk, you would never uh, think that she was in any kind of educated at all. But intentionally she did that. She was a very aware of person about life and had a lot of history about herself and other people like her.
See, that's beautiful, and she put that out there on the stage. And what about Pygmy Markham?
Pygmy Markham, I got to know him just as an entertainer. I didn't know him on a personal base, but I got to see him 15 or 20 times around with him back in the day. And on the show, he was just a guy who was funny. And that's all I ever knew about Pygmy from that standpoint, other than from an entertainer standpoint. It's just like I did with T-Bone Walker. All I know about T-Bone Walker was him as a guitar player, as an entertainer. I didn't get to know him on a personal basis like I did Bobby Bland, B.B. King, that's Domino. I got to know them on a personal basis. Albert King, all these guys, Ray Charles, Little Richard. I know them on a personal basis. When we was kids together, I mean, we got them on a personal basis, you know? And I could call these guys my friends because and Muddy Water, quite nice in Muddy Water. Let me tell you the story about Muddy Water. Muddy Water was an old man when I really got into. He was 29 years old. How about that? You know, and Muddy Water on his 29th birthday. He had a birthday party on the 29th, and I forgot his birthday party. He was 29 years old, Muddy Water. And I said 28, 29. I wasn't 30 years old. And I forgot his birthday party. So 10:30, so someone said, well, I thought you're going to Muddy Water birthday party. So I called it 10:30. I jumped in my car and went to Lake and Westland Avenue in Chicago. Went down to the club. When I got to the club, he would hang out the window. He called me Blood. He said, Blood, man, I invited you by, bro. He would introduce me as his brother. Blood, come on up. Now, what Muddy Water liked about me as a teenager, I don't know. He's 29 years old. I'm maybe 21, you know.
Yeah.
And then, 10 years different our age or whatever. And I went up he said, come around to the back. I went up to the back. He had about 12 or 15 ladies up there with the dress all short. You could see everything but in Chicago, down to the river. If you know what I mean.
Yes, I know what you mean.
And there was old lady. I walked in there. I said, how old are you? She said 26. And the other lady said, I'm 30. One said, I'm 35. One said, I'm 39. I sneaked out the back door. 36 years old. I'm old lady. Oh, man. I laugh about that now. 36. I left out the door because they talk about that 26 and 36. Ah, man. I laugh about that. That's a dumb on my part, man. Because I thought they was old ladies.
They could have taught you something.
Know? Yeah, y'all was old man. Muddy Water 29. They 36 years old. One was 36 years old. Man, I broke out of that.
I want
man.
I want to point out something. It just came to me as you were talking. In today's world, they try to separate and segregate music in different genres. Is that there are some things that there's some different sounds that are on opposite sides of the spectrum. You said the people that you were around, Muddy Waters, that's the godfather of what they call this heavy metal sound. There ain't nothing but Muddy Waters. You got Bo Diddley.
That's all.
You got Bo Diddley. You're around Fats Domino. That's R&B. That will eventually become R&B and Ray Charles. You around Pygmy Markham, which will eventually become rap.
Little Richard Rock and Roll.
Little Richard Rock and Roll.
Come on.
And you around Moms Maybe, which started stand-up comedy. Rufus Thomas, the radio DJ that went into the MC that went into being the blues great, Red Fox. The chittlin circuit literally had all of the different genres of music that we listen to now, stand-up comedy, acting. You guys were all on that circuit together at the same time at one point. That is amazing.
But I didn't realize that. I didn't realize it. You don't know that till years go by. You don't know how blessed you are to be raised up and come up around people who had this going on, because we wasn't making no money, man, with the thing that we knew. We were around, and and we always want to be something else because we weren't making any money being who we was. You know, we wanted to just elevate ourselves to somewhere else because I got blessed and lucky early in my life where I was kind of satisfied into what I was doing and who I am. I'm one of the few guys who have crossed over but never crossed out. But you know,
Mm-hmm.
I guess Buddy Guy and I is one of the two of the oldest musicians around now left and black. Well, if I'm not the oldest, I'm the ugliest. So I take that. You know.
I went and
But if
saw
I
Buddy
say
Guy
that
at the
because
Hollywood Bowl 2 years ago. Talk to us about Buddy.
yeah, yeah. Well, but when we was young, like 20, 20, early 20s, we didn't know each other. Didn't know we didn't know of each other. We wasn't around each other that much. But the last 20 years, we have come to be so close. We like one, like twins, man. And we talk on a daily basis. And we don't if we don't talk every 2 3 days, we say things I'm wrong, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But we come to be friends like that. Plus, we from the same state, the same home state, you know. But we didn't know each other as kids. After he come to Chicago in 1959, I believe it was. 1959, come to Curly Space. I was already there in 1951, you know. And Buddy is an upright guy, good businessman, got his head on straight. But the point I'm getting to is like, I'm one of the few guys who crossed over and never crossed out. Buddy don't have cause the average black kid, 20 years old, never heard of Buddy. Not that many. But
True.
that don't mean he's not great. But then because he don't work both sides of the fence like I do. I got 1 foot over here, 1 foot over there, and I'm considered as a king of the chittlin section, and I still do things for little or no money to keep myself present with my own people because I don't ever plan to cross out.
And we
You know.
appreciate that because so many people have forgotten that. So when we get one like you, you're a national treasure. I know you don't have all day to talk, so I want to go back to I Ain't Studdin You. Talk to the people about what I Ain't Studdin You. What does that mean, and what can they expect when they read this book?
Dave, I ain't studying. Mean I'm not thinking about you. For the ladies, if you got a man that not thinking about you when he go to work, that means he won't bring his money home. For the men, if you go to bed and your lady turn her back to you saying studying you, that means you ain't getting no loving. If you know what I mean. That means you can go on to sleep because that means you get nothing here tonight. You know.
Uh-huh.
And I said that in a laughing about it because I ain't studying me. I'm not thinking about you. I'm not doing it. Because when your mother tells you, get out of here, boy, go play, I ain't studying you. You might well just hang it up because you whatever you asking for or trying to get, you won't get it. Not today. You know. Yeah, not today.
That's beautiful. And this book, for those of you who if you want to know more about music, read this book. If you want to understand history, read this book. If you want to understand who Bobby Rush is, read this book. If you just want to know more about your surroundings and how things have changed but stayed the same, read this book. I really
And I
appreciate.
want to let people know when you read this book, I want you to go away in your mind saying, if Bobby Rush, the old country boy, can make it out of his situation, you could make it out of yours too.
That's real talk. No matter what you're going through, you can make it through because you talked about that in the book, and you talked about your progression, and you study a man's progression. You see someone who early on in his career things didn't work out the way he want, but here at the end, this man owns his masters, and he's in control of his destiny, and he's in control of his music career, which to me
Well,
that's
thank
heaven
you,
on
man.
earth, being in control of your life the way you are.
Well, I want to leave this with you, and I'm going to get ready to run. And I thank you for having me on. Thank you for what you have done. Thank you for what you're doing. And thank you for what you plan to do. Because what you say about me, what people perceive me to be. My motto is now to do all I can, why I can. When that comes a time I cannot do, I won't regret what I did not do.
That's beautiful closing words. Thank you again, Mr. Rush, for this interview.
Thank you
I
for having
really
me on.
appreciate you. And thank everyone
You call
listening.
me anytime, my brother.
Thank you. And thank
God
everyone
bless you,
listening to
man.
Incense and Ashtrays.
Thank you, man. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.